Hi, I'm Dr. Bill Berkowitz of Life Chiropractic. Welcome. Let's talk about the 5 critical do's and don'ts for whiplash treatment. In fact, I'm going to focus on the don'ts because often what you don't do is just as critical as what you do. That sounded funny. Anyways, you want to avoid the long-term complication of whiplash injuries. And these injuries and long-term symptoms happen even with relatively low-speed minor motor vehicle collisions. Yale University determined that accidents as low as 8.2 miles per hour was enough to injure occupants of vehicles even though the vehicles were not damaged. There is a whole constellation of issues called whiplash-associated disorders that accompanies long-term complications from whiplash. And you don't want the headaches and the fatigue and the difficulty sleeping and the numbness and the tingling and the weakness and the neck pain and the arthritis and the degenerative disc changes. And I could go on and on and on. So here's what you do not want to do, because this is just as critical as what you do want to do. And for what you do want to do, look at my blog post that's about the 5 top do's and don'ts. So don't assume that number one, don't assume that you didn't get injured. Oftentimes it can take hours, days, even a few weeks to feel the injury. And even if it doesn't feel minor, not a week goes by that I don't find someone in my office that has long-term complications from one or multiple minor car accident injuries that they didn't consider were serious enough to get treatment years ago. 2, do not apply any heat for at least a week after you've been injured. This is in line with the healing process. There's an initial inflammatory phase, and you do not want to encourage more of that phase with heat for a week. 3, you don't want to rely on pain medications. The last thing you want to do is to do things that are going to further damage the injury because you're covering up the pain with medication. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't take medication, but don't use it to do things in the initial month or so that you otherwise couldn't do because of the injury. 3, you do not want to immobilize yourself with a cervical collar for more than a couple of days, and even over the first 2 or 3 days, you want to take it off every hour for 5 or 10 minutes and move your neck gently as far as you comfortably can. If you use the collar for too long, it will actually result in more significant, serious long-term complications. And 5, you don't want to rely on your primary care physician to manage a whiplash injury. Primary care physicians have been known to fail on their knowledge of the management of musculoskeletal injuries and conditions. They are concerned of a brain injury, a brain bleed, a fracture, but beyond that, they really have little understanding of how to manage these issues. Because in medicine, it's black and white. If it's not broken, it's fine. Whiplash injuries are much more about the gray in between the black and the white. Make sure to subscribe to my social media channels where I post information on a regular basis. You can also find a lot of additional information and blog posts on my website, lifewithinchiropractic.com. Thank you.